We need more variety. Let me explain. This is a flatworm which was blessed with both male and female reproductive organs, including not just one, but 2 sea sluggers. To counteract this extremely lucky evolutionary win, the flatworm is also born without a butthole, forcing it to poo through its mouth. Since either partner can give birth, but neither actually want to go to all the extra effort if they don't have to, the flatworms decide to mother in an honourable and noble practice, a multi-dong jewel. Alright worms, draw your swords. On guard. Are they your swords? They look minuscule. I want a good, clean fight today. First to stab your opponent in the back wins and is allowed to impregnate them. Wait, what? Loser must carry and lay the winner's eggs. If sword fighting isn't your cup of tea, there's plenty of other options, like the Pololo worms for instance, who have been preparing for a special occasion. At the same time every year, the worms break themselves into 2 separate creatures, with the boring parts of the worm staying at the bottom, and the fun parts floating gracefully and romantically up to the surface to The locals celebrate this annual event as a time of love and romance, scooping the reproductive worms up and eating them. No, this can't be right. The worms are often sold as a delicacy for more than $100 a kilogram. Let's move on to something a little less degenerate. The seahorse lives a strict life of devotion and monogamy. They start their courtship by hanging onto the same blade of grass and deeply staring into each other's souls. When the seahorses trust each other, they gracefully wrap their tails around one another and romantically float up to the surface of the water, where the female
pump the male's brood pouch with thousands of her precious eggs, which he will then cultivate, then spew the helpless babies out into the ocean.
Unfortunately, it turns out baby seahorse is on the menu for a lot of fish, and only about 1 in every 200 of these little cuties will actually survive. It's rather sad when you think about it. Then we have the pufferfish. Honestly, I don't have a lot of respect for this sack of air. Pufferfish are just way too nice, and kind of a suck-up. But I figured I should probably put them on the list, because their method is kind of cool, I guess. To set the mood and create a convenient nesting spot, the male pufferfish make nests with incredibly detailed and intricate patterns on the seafloor. Wow, big whoop. Look at me, I can make grooves in the sand. I usually just end up using the nest as flatworm battle arenas. Now when it comes to the deep sea, things somehow get even more crazy. It's legitimately possible a deep sea creature living in the pitch black will never come across another of its kind. So while most animals will reproduce motivated simply by their primal desire to have a bit of fun, deep sea creatures generally need a little more encouragement. Like this guy, the anglerfish. One of the many defining qualities of this freaky fish is that the males and females are completely different size. Females can grow up to 100 centimeters, and males can be as small as 2. This really doesn't leave the males with a whole lot of options during mating, so the anglerfish has to get a bit creative. When mating season comes around, matured males are forced into a game of flirtatious hide and seek. The punishment for losing? Death. To begin the game, deep sea female anglers will start to release an alluring, sexy scent wherever they happen to be. At the same time, the male's digestive system completely shuts itself down. The clock is now ticking, and males, blind and starving, only have about 3 months to track a female down before they die of starvation. If a male is lucky enough to find one, they're saved, but the only way to survive is by clamping their jaws down on the female's body like a parasite, effectively becoming a whole new organ. The female will now lovingly provide the male with all the nutrients it needs. So the male no longer has any use for irrelevant fishy limbs like eyes and fins. Besides, the female really only needs one thing from the male, its testicle sac, which is what the male will eventually be reduced to. There's also quite possibly no limit to how many males the female will graciously take on either, as we've seen as many as 8 sacs on a single female. Finally, if you're looking for something a bit more modern, we have the clownfish. A group of up to 6 gender-neutral jokesters will gather together to form a loving family, following a strict hierarchy. The largest of the group will transform into the female, while the second largest will become the male and partake in the funny business. The others will simply remain gender-neutrals, who can watch but strictly not partake. Now, when the female is brutally murdered, as does tend to happen to the largest and most aggressive, the male will commence a gender change to become the new female. This means the other neutrals are allowed allowed to move up one in the hierarchy, with the next biggest fish becoming the male, and the cycle continues. Now I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. That's cool and all, but what about the blobfish? How does that breed? Well, you can find that out firsthand because I'm starting an OnlyFans. Exclusive content delivered weekly in an all-you-can-eat blobfish buffet. A little taster link is in the description. Alright, I don't want to make this video too long, but let me know if you want a part 2 because there are so many other crazy sea creatures I didn't cover. Anyway, cheers for watching, subscribe for more.